All right, I am so excited to be sharing this video with you guys. As you can tell, I've got some nice comfy clothes on, and that is partly because we are reading one of my favorite bedtime stories that was read to me growing up. So we are reading Goodnight Moon, and this is a story by Margaret Wise Brown with pictures by Clement Hurd. And this was wonderful for me growing up. My mother would read this to me, and this was always a very nostalgic book to me. I love the art in it, and I think it'll be really exciting for students, and also for just kids growing up. I think this is a book that has varied applications. So the level of this book, this is used for first grade, and this would be a guided reading level of age for first graders. But this is also a great story to read to learners when they're younger, before they enter in school, and also in kindergarten and later on. As you can tell, I'm so very excited about it. So it's great for all ages. Genres, it's a great bedtime story, and then it's also a work of fiction, and we can look and see why that is in just a bit. But looking at the cover, I'm seeing it says Goodnight Moon. That's the title of the book. We see the moon in the background, which means that it's nighttime. And normally, when you say goodnight to someone, you're saying it right before you go to bed. It's the last thing you say to someone. So I'm thinking someone is trying to go to bed in this story. And they've got a fire on. It seems like a pretty busy room. So if we look at the story, going forward. This is Bunny's bedroom, and I see a lot of things in there. So if I'm having trouble going to bed and I'm in a room that this is this active, I might have a hard time going to bed. So that's something we should look at going into this. I'm going to predict that Bunny is going to have trouble sleeping. So I'm going to go ahead and read Goodnight Moon by Margaret Wise Brown. In the great green room there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. And there were three little bears sitting on chairs. Those are stories I'm familiar with. If you're familiar with Goldilocks and the Three Bears, it kind of reminds me of that. Also, a rhyme about a cow jumping over the moon. And two little kittens and a pair of mittens and a little toy house and a young mouse. Something that is common within a lot of the sentences in this book is there's a pattern between the words. So there's a lot of rhymes between words. On this page, for example, they rhyme kittens and mittens, and they rhyme toy house with mouse. So there's a lot of other examples where there's rhymes within this book that we have already seen, but also keep out for that looking forward. And a comb and a brush and a bowl full of mush, and a quiet old lady who was whispering, "Hush." So you whisper hush when someone's talking a good bit. So I'm going to predict that she's actually whispering that to the bunny because he's saying goodnight to all these things and she just wants him to sleep. Good night, moon. Good night, cow jumping over the moon. Good night, light and the red balloon. Good night, bears. Good night, chairs. Good night, kittens, and good night, mittens. Good night, clocks, and good night, socks. Good night, little house, and good night, mouse. Good night, comb, and good night, brush. Good night, nobody. Good night, mush. And good night to the old lady whispering, hush. Good night, stars. Good night, air. Good night, noises everywhere. So, a thing I really love about this story is I think it helps remind me that we have routines a lot of times before going to bed. So, I think part of Bunny's routine is so he can get himself tired, he says goodnight to all the things in his room. And I think it's a good thing to have a routine for when you're going to bed. It helps you know, it helps tell your body to get sleepy. Um, so something I think is fun to do with this is to look around and find things in your own room that you would say goodnight to. I would probably say goodnight to my Avengers poster. I would say goodnight to my Captain America shield. I may say goodnight to my computer, my TV. So these are fun things to look for. I think another theme of this book is sometimes we can have trouble sleeping, and I think that's relatable to a lot of people. So I think this is a, a great time for us to make a personal connection and maybe find another strategy to help us go to sleep when we want to sleep. So I am very excited I got to share that with you guys. This was a great reflection and walk back into my childhood and a great way to revisit this classic book. So I'm glad that you guys could come with me. And if it's night for you, I hope you have a good night's rest.